Today's conversation is all about authenticity. We're going to go on a little bit of a ramble or a rant. I'm not sure how long it'll last. It might be short, might be long, but you got to be so grounded in yourself, family. That is like the key of everything. You got to be so grounded within yourself, within your being, within your essence, that you learn to manage yourself. We're going to dive. Don't worry, family. That is key right now. Learn to manage yourself. Manage the compartments, the capacities, the abilities, the traits, the habits, all the different nuances of you. Learn to manage that. And when I mean manage, I don't mean control. And I guess the question would be, what is the difference between managing and control? In my view, controlling is the forceful directing of an essence, of a being, of a spirit, right? It's a forceful directing. Whereas managing is delegating a space for that to be held, okay? So example, if you're managing employees versus controlling employees, when you control an employee, you're telling them all the time what to do, when to do, how to do it, and you're leaving very little to no room for them to do themselves or be who and what they are. But when you manage employees, you delegate a space for them to do what they're going to do, right? You don't do as much hovering, right? You don't do as much micromanaging. You just allow them to get things done, right? So that would be called like a results-oriented work environment. And if that's actually a common thing, it's called a row. And when people operate in row environments, results-oriented work environments, they find that the productivity is much higher because there is no connection between an outcome and like this reward, right? The outcome is dictated off of creativity. You get to be creative. You get to do what you want to do versus being forced in what to do. So your creativity center shuts off. And I'm only bringing that up because I want you all to get so entrenched and so grounded into self that you recognize who and what you are, how you operate, what it is your winning formulas, what are your tendencies, what is it that makes you tick, what do you like, what do you not like. And when you learn to manage yourself, when you know yourself as much and you learn to manage yourself, you're able to postpone, you're able to do what's called delayed gratification. And that is one of the key tenets of building a conquer-proof core, having delayed gratification, because you know that you have to keep doing work sometimes. And just because you plant the seed today does not mean the plant's going to come out tomorrow. You have to keep watering the soil. You have to keep doing what is necessary to get the results that you want. If you're somebody like me, like myself, I love people. I don't want to be around the wrong people. You see, I love people with all my heart, with all my essence, with all my being. I don't want to be around the wrong people. And so I have a very strong desire. Excuse me, family. One of my note cards fell. I have a very strong desire to build with people and to do things with people, but until I find the right people, I'm perfectly fine with doing things by myself. See, I've learned to manage that aspect of myself. And there's a lot of people, I would say the empaths of the world, we really like being around people, but we don't manage it very well. And so we want to help every single person that comes to us, even if it's not good for us, right? And that's the same thing with some of the things that happen with you in your life. I don't know what you're going through, whoever's watching this, but most likely you have an experience or a moment in life where you want, like you feel compelled to do it, but you don't really want to, but you do it anyway. And tell me if this sounds familiar, where you get resentful and pent up, like, bro, I hate, oh my gosh, they always ask me to do something, blah, blah, blah. Like you have that moment where you're always pouring into somebody's cup, but you're like, man, I feel like I got to help people. You don't want to let anybody down. You don't want to abandon anybody. And yes, these are triggering moments. If you do what if you learn to manage, you can become very triggered, because when you tell somebody like, hey, I can't deal with that right now, it triggers you to feel like you're abandoning them or you're not being there for them. And typically when those things trigger you is because you have had people do that to you, but it was in an unbalanced manner. See, the managing aspects of yourself is learning to do things in a balanced manner. It's not abandoning people, but it's managing people in a way that allows a win-win situation between yourself and them. Look, if you're doing things when you're empty, I promise you it's a win-lose. You may see it as a win for you because you're like, well, I love being there for people, but you really didn't want to be there at that time. You felt compelled to do it, right? You don't want to just be compelled. You want to be compelled and you want to be willing and you want to. All three: compelled, willing, and wanting to do something for somebody. And if you don't feel all three, don't do it. Don't. Because all it's going to do is build up what I call the resentment tank inside. And people that love to give, people that love to serve, people that really want to just see the best for people, when that resentment tank get filled up, you kind of go opposite as far as your energy flows, and you start not wanting to deal with people. You get very disconnected from people, and you're like, yo, just leave me alone. You become irritable, you become frustrated, and you actually start experiencing a lower level of fulfillment and satisfaction with your life because you're at ends with yourself, right? Because part of you is like, bro, I want to help people, I love people, and the other part is like, bro, I hate people, they get on my nerves. And people say, I got this love-hate relationship. No. It's not a love-hate relationship. You've mismanaged your energy, and now you're facing the repercussions of the imbalance because you're imbalanced, but that's your homeostasis, that's your normal way of being right now. And in order to actually remedy that, you have to build up boundaries. You have to become more assertive. And what that's going to do over time is bring you back into a level state of being. You won't have a love-hate relationship. You'll have a I want to, I don't want to relationship with people. Yes, I would love to help you in this project. No, I don't have the space for it. Or no, I don't want to do that. And eventually you get to the point where you don't get any explanations. You say no. That's how you learn to manage yourself. That's how you learn to manage your tendencies and your needs. Get clear on who you actually want to help, how you want to help them. Clarity will bring out more of the fruits of the more fruits. Clarity produces fruits. Clarity in action, but you get what I'm saying. That produces fruits. So really the topic of today was really just about managing yourself and being honest with yourself. Look, I love people. I'm not a romantic. I'm a lover. I love loving people. I love being there for people. I love comforting and really being that strong foundation, that rock in people's lives. I thoroughly enjoy it for the people that I care for. I want the best for everybody, but not everybody is going to be my direct sphere of care. And that's something I've had to learn to manage. And if I don't have anybody in my direct sphere of care, that desire to want to give to everybody, I have to keep that in check. I have to manage that by channeling that energy into something else and not into people just because they're there, right? If I want to love on people, but I don't have nobody right now, it does a disservice to me and the other person if I go find like somebody that, quote unquote, a project, right? I'm gonna love on you until I feel like I'm done loving you, I'm gonna leave. Right, that does a disservice for both of us. Versus saying, I want to care for people, so let me create something that people can use. You see, that's the difference between controlling and managing. I've managed these emotions, and you all have to learn how to manage your own emotions. And look, managing is not a destination. Managing is an active way of being, because fires arise, and you have to learn to be able to deal with what arises instead of just isolating these things into a particular compartment, right? Right? And then you punish things when they come out of their department. And I'm saying that in a very general term, but say you're somebody who likes to, you like to create, and say you like to write poetry. And if you can't write poetry one day, but you have something to get off your mind, like it's just not flowing, you get frustrated and angry because you're like, yo, why can't I write this poem? It's because you never actually learn how to manage your emotion. You just controlled it and you put it into something. You just forced it into something. Because sometimes the way you can manage that emotion might not be writing it down, but it might be speaking about it. It might be going for a walk. You might need to exercise. You might need to do some deep breathing. You may need to do nothing. You may need to sit and reflect with what you're actually going through. And I'm saying all that simply to say, family, learn to manage your emotions. And you will learn to do that the more authentic you get with yourself. Really figure out what you love to do, what you like to do, what you enjoy doing. Your tendencies. Get clear on the tendencies, right? Why Is that a tendency for you? Right? And see the underlying concept. There's always something beneath what you think is the truth. There's always something beneath it. And I want you to keep that in your mind as you're going through life, to know that there's always this intelligence working behind the scenes. There's always this system working behind the scenes. And the closer you get to understanding that system, the faster your life will move in the direction that you choose to move it in. Because once you manage your emotions, you get to manage the things that you begin to produce and the things that you manifest in your life. That's it for today, family. As always, if you want to help managing your emotions, you want to get help pulling out your genius, you want to get help getting more ideas and more solid ideas so you can run with. Because I know some people like templates and they can just run with it. Some people like the framework and they can build within it. If that's you, if you like that kind of stuff, if you like a template, if you like a framework, or maybe you want me to help you pull out your genius, or maybe you like a support team of people helping you to realize your greatness in all and any of your goals, I want you to visit cpc.iallg.com. Let's have a conversation. Look, the way that I view things and the way that we view things here at CPC at the Conquer Proof Core is really, really simple. And it's this: a conversation is an invitation for a relationship. So if you'd like to build a relationship, seeing if it's the right fit for you, go to cpc.iallg.com. The link will be in the bio, wherever this video is at. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's see how we can help you move the needle forward in your life. This is Brother 𝐁𝐫𝐶 signing off. Peace.